And we are live.
Max, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Kate and Charisse. It's a pleasure
We're
to be
oh,
on. It's a pleasure to be on the Strange Grooves podcast.
How do you feel? You've been
Uh,
listening to the show. You're finally, in the guest seat.
yeah, no, I discovered your guys' podcast a few months ago, and I've been listening to quite a few episodes. Some really interesting musicians from around the East Coast, some that I've been looking up to for years, even.
Oh wow.
And to share this space, the classic can Kraken.
There you go. That's like
right.
signature now.
Yeah,
You
it
got to
is.
do it or else it
I
doesn't.
could tell. But yeah, no, it's a pleasure. And it's my first podcast appearance in terms of, starting this whole music career thing. And it's really a pleasure. So thank you.
So I guess to start things off for people who are not familiar with you and your work, tell us a little bit about yourself, the music you play, and sort of how you first started getting into playing music.
All right. So my name is Max Bujold or Bujo. A lot of people have mixed it up over the years. And don't worry if you do, I won't take it personally. But I grew up in Fall River, Nova Scotia. I was born and raised down there, and I spent all my years in Nova Scotia up until about 3 years ago when I moved to northern New Brunswick to kind of rejoin my family roots. My mom and dad are from up here, and my whole family. So I came back. There were some job opportunities. I'm living in Restigouche County, which is close to the border of Quebec and New Brunswick, way up north. And life's been pretty good for me ever since I moved here. I I started a career as an occupational therapist, which is what I studied for, and then I started my music career as well, which I always dreamt about, but never really knew would actually happen.
And
And
look at you now.
Here you are on Strange Grooves.
I just
You
got
made
Made it.
it.
goosebumps just
Singles,
thinking about that.
EPs, press releases. Look at you go.
Well, when you believe in something and you want it bad enough, like I think that you end up finding a way, and like, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of challenges I faced personally in finding myself, and then finally finding myself as a musician as well. So I'm hoping to be able to tell a little bit of that story, but obviously there's a lot to tell. But that's why I'm writing songs, and I really try to get the things that are most meaningful to me in life out, whether it be experiences or messages. And I'm really excited to share more.
And so, you talk a little bit about, your full-time job and your transition into music. Can you talk to the audience a little bit more about what that transition has been like for you and, kind of what the future of that transition might look like?
For sure. So I started I started playing guitar when I was 8 years old. I'll take you back a little bit, and then
Let's
we'll
go.
Let's do it way back.
started playing guitar because my grandfather, he played, and I lived in Nova Scotia and they lived in northern New Brunswick. I didn't get to see them very much. So when I was 8, I decided to pick up the guitar and learn to try to, be like my grandfather, impress him or sort of in a way. And it just so happened that my grandfather well, he didn't catch it, but he got cancer that year. And the first song that I ever learned how to play, I played for him on his dying bed in the hospital. And ever since that moment, I've just felt inspired that it was my responsibility to take on that legacy of musicians in the family and maybe bring it to some place that he never could or my mom never could. Just because life was hard for my family growing up, like even before I came along, like farming family, parents died young, siblings raising each other basically, sort of deal. And coming from all that hardship, I wanted to really focus on the positivity and all the beauty that comes out of that. And I think that I'm honored to have the talent that I do and to share it. Anyways, getting back to my story, I get off track a bit. Um, 14, I joined a band. Then I went to university. The band didn't end up going as well because I was focused on my studies. Um, a few years in, I was doubting why I was even there. And that's when I really started to dig deep into songwriting as an outlet. Was about third year uni, and my friends were all around. I remember this one song just kind of like unleashed this new world of possibilities in my brain. And after university, well, I went to Acadia University to do an undergrad for 4 years. And at the end of that, I was feeling really unsure about where I was going with my life. My plans going into university, well, I didn't end up going that route. I decided to, go with my heart and make decisions in the moment, even though I wasn't sure where they were going to bring me. And at times that was really hard on me, like ups and downs with mental health. And finally, I graduated and I got into occupational therapy school at Dal in Halifax. And I went there and I felt like it was a good thing for me. I met good people. I met another musician from Thunder Bay, Brandon Stevens, who helped me start to record my songs. And I recorded my first single, which is called Highway Robbery. That was released back in 2019. But unfortunately, at the time, we were masters of occupational therapy students and we didn't have much time to gig. And so we went our separate ways after university. I came up to northern New Brunswick because there was a job in OT up here. And then the pandemic was in full effect. So I started working at a hospital and I didn't really like it all that much. And I found another job working in the community where I work now, giving healthcare services to people at home that need it. And once the pandemic started to settle down, I hopped on the gig train. Like I started playing in every local bar, and eventually I gained some momentum and went down to Moncton and I met some guys down there and they ended up coming back up to see my next show in Campbellton. And then we decided we were going to play a show together, and then we went down to Shippagan at Cielo when we played our first show together, and that was June last year. So it's been 1 year since I've formed a band, and I also met a lot of musicians that weren't mentioned that really helped me on the recording side. So there's like Jean-Marc Couture, who's a big French music sensation. He's been on the show Star Academy, and he won the show, and he's been having a lot of success in his musical career in Quebec. And it just so happened that during the pandemic, he was around, I was around. We ended up at the same supper, and we hit it off. And the next day, I wrote a song, "Ever Coming Back," which is the one that just got released. And the day after it was written, I went to Jean Marc's and I started recording it. And that started the whole EP project. And I'm putting together a 6-song EP called "The Gamble," which is one of the tracks off the album that I wrote about the struggle, the gamble between playing it safe, going to university and doing that life versus leaving that all behind and pursuing music like I've always dreamt of. And that was all the ways the gamble. I decided to play it safe, and I had some ups and downs on that route, but I ended up where I am today, and finally I'm able to make music. So the gamble was worth it.
Absolutely. No, I love how that came together. It's such a New Brunswick thing. Like we ended up, at, a supper or a dinner or a bar with like, a musical legend. That's just how it goes around here.
Yeah, it was special.
Yeah.
I hopped on, like, I remember he was supposed to be on a date with one of my good friends, and we were all in the car together, and we ended up started talking about music, right? And it ended up me and him were more on the date than anything else.
It happens. That's how it goes.
Yeah, then we like
Connections.
there was a piano in the bar. Cast and crew in Bathurst. We jumped on that piano and started playing a couple tunes, and next thing you know, it was a jam session back in Charlotte on the beach at a cottage, and we just had some really special nights, him and I. And I think that meeting each other helped both of us mutually because, in one way, me coming from where I came from and him from where he came from, we were almost just what we each other needed. Because I was like that fire of passion that was just needed the right sort of motivation or help to get going. And he was like not unsure where he was, and then next thing you know, we started working on things, and then he gets a call, and it's this huge Quebec rock band, La Chicane, who are calling him to be a part of it, and now he's off living the life playing in that band and also working on his solo project. which I might be writing some songs for him
Ooh.
for. And yeah, I'm really excited for him, and things have been really exciting for me and the band as well. So I
He's
couldn't be
been
more
busting
happy.
muscles, he's been busy. We've been busy,
Yeah.
haven't we? And
Yeah.
for those listening, just like a very quick disclaimer, Max and I, we've been working together for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months on just a couple different things in regards to, the EP and the single, and just working with the fantastic people at Music New Brunswick.
Hmm.
So we love when people make strategic partnerships that actually end up making really cool things. So yeah, thanks Music New Brunswick for matching that up. Appreciate it.
Yes, I have so much thanks to give Music New Brunswick, honestly, because arriving in New Brunswick from Nova Scotia, I went through this like identity crisis where everyone's like, "You're not from here, but
Mm.
your whole family's from here." And I was like, "I know, I feel like I'm from here, but I'm not from here." Anyways, and the support that Music New Brunswick's been giving me really just makes me feel so at home and so supported here in New Brunswick. The fact that I met you, Kate, is the reason I'm here, and the reason that we were able to put together the awesome release plan that we have. And it's just more and more doors are opening, and it's not because I'm just sitting here and I'm lucky. Like, I swear to God, I bust in my what every day trying to make this happen.
If you're not
And
following him on social, you're doing yourself a discredit because it's one of the best accounts on social media
Oh, wow.
around. Yeah, he gives you a laugh every day that he posts. It's fantastic. He
yeah.
brings you along for the ride. Now, hey, I might have had some strategic advice and being like, keep doing that because I personally enjoy it. But yeah, if you're not following Max on social, definitely do that immediately. Pause this right now, go do it, and then come back.
Back, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Kate. I really try to just keep it real and keep it fun.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed the sharing of artwork on social medias, and I think that there's a lot of negative connotations, but I think there's a lot of good to it, and I try to use it for good.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
hope that I can inspire other people to use it for good, because it's a part of everybody's life nowadays, and it's a huge part of this music business.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, before I decided to be a musician, well, I was on a 1-year hiatus from social medias, and I was living this sort of like a little bit free spirit post grad, like, this is the best year of my life sort of high.
Mm.
And that's when I met somebody who was another high that I had a blast with, and then it just ended terribly for me and for us in a way, and that's why I wrote the song "Ever Coming Back." It was a big experience. For those who don't know, "Ever Coming Back" is about a breakup I had, and I know there's a million breakup songs, so I won't be offended if you don't listen to it. But I mean, you should check out the music video. At least it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Anyways, that song, it helped me get so much emotion off of my plate, and it set me free. In It wasn't the first single I put out this year because I really wanted to make sure that it was right when it came out, and it got the well, not the attention, but like just the delivery that it deserves. And I was thankful to get some help from Music New Brunswick to fund a music video. My good buddy Dan Celeste at D Studios is a super fun dude to work with. And shout out to Abby, Precious Abigail the Dam, for the music video actress.
Yeah, so good. We'll
She
put that
was.
in the
We literally took those takes in like one take. It was so cold out, and we were just like, okay, let's do it. And the emotions were good, and
yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
all you can
it's
ask
only
for.
my second music video too.
Yeah.
And it's only my first acting appearance, I think. So yeah, but I enjoyed it. I really loved the making of the music video. For those of you who don't know what goes into making of a music video, well, it takes a lot of visualization. I hope I'm not talking too much, Kate.
Not at all.
No, this is what
No.
it's about.
And
People
it's
No?
think we
Okay.
talk too much, so
So,
yes.
obviously, as the songwriter who experienced the events that led to the song, I felt it quite easy to sort of tell the story, but not only of the breakup, but how that breakup led to the formation of the band, us finally being able to perform together and recording together.
Mm.
And I think that the music video did a good job of sort of quickly telling that story of how, it went from the breakup to writing the song to being in the studio to performing it live, which was a super fun thing to do. We just invited a bunch of friends out to this little art gallery and we set it up like a show venue and offered some free snacks and whatnot. And people were super into it. Like,
Oh,
it was so fun. And we even were on TV. We were on, TVA, which is
Yeah,
like a
that's awesome.
French. Yeah. They came and did an interview with us, and I'm trying to support as many local businesses as possible, so, like, we went to a local art gallery, the owner I know, and, like, I get my merchandise done by local people as well, and all the musicians on the EP are either from or currently living in New Brunswick, so it's, like, almost 100% New Brunswick made.
Yeah,
that's
that's rad.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious what it was like for you because this is a very personal song about about a breakup, and of course you'll be playing the song. It's your single, like of course around. But what was it? What was the experience like? I guess putting together a music video and having to find a way to illustrate that story and to I guess emotionally, like how do you approach something like that? Like, was it hard or was it just like okay, like
Well,
yeah, like
it's definitely a very vulnerable subject and thing to just openly put out there, and I'm I'm pretty open as it goes. Like, I don't really get too shy. I'm a very social person. I love being in front of audiences and making sure they're having fun. Um, so for me to put myself out there, it was sort of like an all-in sort of decision. Like, I was like, I wrote the song. It helped me so much, and it means this much to me. I'm gonna do the music video, and I'm gonna tell the story, no matter how hard it might be or how awkward it might be for certain people to watch it after the facts. I I didn't mean any harm in the making of this music video either, and I since this breakup, guys, it's been like 2 years, I've made up with this person in my life that was a significant person, she helped me see what I was made of. She really encouraged me in music, and even though she hurt me, she brought me a lot of good, and I choose to see the good in people because if you choose to see the bad, it gets dark. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And I was living a nightmare for a long time, and eventually I had to forgive in order to move on.
right. Yeah.
So I made the music video long after I had forgiven and made up, and even before it came out, I saw my ex in the gym, and I asked her, like, what do you think of the song? Even though I knew she had already heard it, and then she was nervous about the music video because she knew it was coming, and I warned her. I told her about what I did in the music video, and I told her I over dramatized it because it's a music video. Like, the real way we broke up, it was the exact same location in the music video for all
Oh,
the
wow.
fans that want to know,
You need to know the
but
tea.
it's
Yes.
it's a beautiful place for a breakup, and honestly, the way it went down, it was a lot longer of a conversation than the music video made it out to be, and it was a lot less like, like in the music video, I did this big burnout in my truck and took off, like, really upset. But in real life, like, I sat there and I talked to her and, like, I let her explain herself, even though it was super hard to hear. I knew I needed to hear it, or else, I would just never be able to move on. Anyways, just sometimes you just got to do things the hard way, and that's always been the way I've learned. Is like, oh, frig, I always seem to learn things the hard way. Well, sometimes you just do it the hard way from the get go, and you just get it over with.
Yeah.
Can relate.
Yeah.
Can relate.
I think we've all had situations, whether it be a breakup or with work or relationships. And I think and that's one of the things that we admire so much about, artists in general, but of course musical singer-songwriters like yourself. It's being able to put your, emotions on your sleeve and, write a song and, share that story through even visually through a music video. And though I can only imagine how vulnerable that is, or like, you'd be worried, like you're worried what your ex is thinking. It's, like breakup songs in particular, like Lost Love, are so universal. Like some of the best songs of all time throughout like centuries are about like breakups and loss of. So it's sort of, carry on a tradition. And it's those songs that are real and are tied into truth that kind of are the ones that resonate, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I think that everybody's been through something similar, and it's just sometimes, maybe it has been done a million times, a breakup song, but sometimes people just need a reminder that you're not the
Mhm.
only one going through that. You're like, I've been through it. Trust me, and it sucks. But the message that I'm trying to portray is you're gonna get through that. You're gonna come out on top if you play. If you stay true to yourself and just believe that it wasn't meant to be. Just move on. And I really, the main message that I try to portray in my music is just follow your freaking dream, man. Like, this life is short. I've lost friends already, and like I just want to get these songs out before I can't. And I just hope that what I'm doing will inspire one or two people, maybe three if I'm lucky, or more. And the message is like hope, just stay positive because it's hard. And most of my songs are all like from a negative place, but there is always a silver lining of hope and positivity.
Mhm. There's
Yeah,
always a
that is
silver
true.
lining. Yeah.
And so when we talk about inspirations, could you talk to us a little bit about what some of your inspirations or influences for music have been?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I remember growing up, and my parents had like one of those big CD stacks,
Oh, yeah.
and I went through a lot of those CDs, and I was dancing before I could walk apparently, and I would dance in front of my grandfather playing guitar. Don't even remember. But a lot of my musical influences, like early on, was classic rock, like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, that kind of stuff. And then when I got more into my teens, I started even getting into like heavy metal, screamo. That didn't last too long, and then I got into a band, and they were doing like Headley and Matchbox 20, and I wasn't singing at the time. I was just a rhythm guitarist, and we had a few originals. They had written a few songs, and that was super cool to me. And I had some like notes at home, but I'd never actually like finished a song. So then I joined this band, and it was like the most exciting thing for a 14, 15-year-old. Next thing you know, we're playing at Alderney Landing in Dartmouth for like this battle of the bands. We finish our set, and we're going through like backstage, and Matt Mays just so happens to be walking by, and he's like, guys, that was awesome, you like just keep rocking or something like that. And I didn't even know who Matt Mays was at that point. And then the guys were like, no way, that's Matt. And then we watched the show from the front row. Like, we were there early, so we got the front row on the gate, and we watched Matt Mays and Adam Baldwin and all his buddies rock out on that stage. And it was the most memorable concert of my life. And ever since that night, I've been a huge Matt Mays fan.
Yeah.
So Matt was a big inspiration of mine. Adam too. Adam's from Fall River, where I grew up, and I didn't know that until recently.
It's
Um,
small world.
but like Tom Petty, some country as well, like Travis Tritt and Johnny Cash were often playing at home. Um, what else do I got? Modern stuff like Chris Stapleton has been one of my favorite songwriters for the last little bit, and voices, like the guy's just got an
Phenomenal.
amazing voice. And lately, I've started to be getting into like trying to find where I fit into the music scene and listening to like what people are telling me I sound like. And a lot of people tell me I sound like Bon Jovi, but I don't get it. A lot of people tell me I sound like the new artists on the country scene, like Bailey Zimmerman or Warren Zeters, those kind
Mhm,
of
I can
guys.
sort of see it. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like their stuff big time, and, like, I listen to it for inspiration because since I got the band going, I'm looking for more band-focused writing. Because a lot of my stuff before was singer-songwriter, and I've got, I've got this book of songs written. A good amount of them are never seeing the light of day because I'm writing new ones to fit the band. And most of the songs on this EP that are coming out have been written for a few years and they just finally need to see the light of day. And the reason I'm only doing 6 songs is because I'm still working full time
That's fair.
and
Yeah.
it's tough. Like,
Mm.
and it's with the help of my friends that I'm able to do it too because when I was going to university, I didn't have time to learn about equipment and recording processes and stuff. I was just picking up the guitar and writing whatever was on my mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So to come and like to finally be seen as like a songwriter from people in the industry that I look up to, it's just like, holy crap, I think I made it. You know what I mean? Like
Made it, baby.
Yay.
it's a feeling. It's a feeling that's always evolving, as a musician, because like to make it is a sort of a ladder that you climb. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true. Yeah.
Because once you make it to that tier of the ladder, well, you always want to go higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, just to be able to be on this podcast with you guys and talk about my music makes me feel like I'm finally an artist worth listening to. So thank you guys for
Aw,
making it.
shucks.
See, I told you, isn't he just such a
Such
sweetheart?
a
I told you.
sweetheart.
Such a sweetie.
Oh, well,
Well,
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit more about like what's coming up, like
mhm.
like the past little tour that you've been on. Like, give people a sense of what the experience of coming to a show if they haven't been out to one yet, because now they're going to be on your socials and they're going to be seeing a little bit of the party times, and then they're going to hear some like the new single, and it's going to be like, okay, so you can kind of have like a mix of like super fun and then like really good like dramatic songs, but like what's coming up? What can people expect?
Well, coming up, we've got some pretty well. Our biggest festival appearances so far, like start from for a band that's only been together for a year. Last year we played 2 festivals, I think, and they were just local festivals. And this year it's looking like 7 or 8 or something like that, and it's gonna be like the headliner for our local Salmon Festival here in Campbellton, July 1st. And I've got Jean-Marc Couture coming to sing with us and perform
Oh,
that night.
so awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. And then we're going to be off on a little bit of a tour. We're going to the Acadian Peninsula. We're going to be playing at Traffic in Shippagan and this Club Celibat in Tracadie. We're going to be playing in Quebec again at the Chateau Baya, which is a super fun venue. It's literally a castle in the woods.
It's so cool.
And they're doing events there and it's been a blast. We played last week or this past weekend with one of the most legendary harmonica players, Jim Zeller. I can't say if he's like the most legendary in the world or in Canada, but like he comes highly proclaimed. And he was a blast. He loved our stuff and he offered to even play harmonica on any of my songs if ever I wanted to. So
Take them up on it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've already got the song picked. It's
There you go.
just recently I started writing in French.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I
It's funny you asked me. It's almost like every time we're on a podcast, it turns into a business chat. So Paul Milner, who I've introduced you to, we were chatting today at his studio, and he was saying it's interesting that he does French and he works with French musicians because that's something that he wants to talk to you a lot more about. So it's
nice.
yes. So just so that I don't forget, and it's not an extra email, we're making all the strategic partnerships a reality here at Strange Groups, guys. Thanks.
Yes. Well, like it's so cool to be able to speak 2 languages. And I have not taken that for granted in life. I think it's definitely a gift. And the fact that I can sing and play and write songs, I'm like, well, I should be able to do it in French if I can do it in English.
Right.
So finally, one night, I sat down at the kitchen table and pulled out the guitar, and I wrote a song, and then dang, it felt great. And then I wrote another song the same night. So I got 2 French songs, and I performed them live for the first time, and the crowds have been loving them.
Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing.
One of them tells the story about where I'm from. Like, it's called D'ici ou de là-bas, and it's about that. Where are you from? Because whenever anybody asks me, it's like, well, I
True.
come
Yeah.
I come from Nova Scotia. I grew up there, but my family's from northern New Brunswick, and now I live here. So, like, where am I from?
It's
Right.
true. Yeah. It's a universal question.
And the song is like a wicked rock and blues tune, and it's just like, from here to there, I don't know, but for here, I'm digging it, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome. It's so
Yeah,
cool that
absolutely.
you're incorporating, both French and English, because we've had this conversation on the show before, like with our friends like Mess and Maud Saunier. And there's so much good music up in, northern New Brunswick and in Francophone, but it doesn't intertwine as much with, Anglophone music, particularly like in St. John, right?
True.
That's historically been so,
Yeah, that's
English.
true.
So I think it's anytime that someone kind of intertwines those or incorporates both and kind of shows like, hey, like we're
Yeah,
all awesome and we're all
Yeah.
great. And you might not, it's all about the music, right? That connects. You might not understand the lyrics, but you know that they're good and you know that the music
definitely.
makes you move, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah, I think that, it's as French in New Brunswick is sort of having a struggle as a language. I want to do my part to 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 use it as much as I can, and
True.
I've been working with more French musicians than English musicians, really. Like Émilie Landry, she's killing it. Jean-Marc Couture, Pat Dugas, these are all amazing local musicians, and like, I'm starting to get to know some of the musicians in the Acadian scene as well, and that's super exciting to me because I look up to them
Yeah.
in terms of French music inspirations. Like, I tend to look closer by for my inspirations for some reason. I don't know. I just see it as maybe more attainable
Yeah.
to maybe reach out to them and learn, and maybe someday perform with them. You know, just like, if you were to, I know the record question's coming in and I'm ready for it. So whenever you guys are ready to lay it on me.
That's so funny.
that's so funny. I was going to lead right into that next because I know we want to be conscious of your time.
No, it's cool. I've got so much time for you guys. Don't worry.
Okay. So you were stranded somewhere, desert island. I just use desert island. You can only bring 3 records with you. Somehow there's a record player there.
Hmm.
What are those records and why?
All right. So since I've been listening to your podcast, I knew this question was coming. And it's still a
Fabulous.
hard question. And I'm
It
sure
is.
this will change if ever I'm back on this podcast. But I've got to give Coyote by Matt Mays one of my votes because it's one of my favorite listen through albums. And I've covered Queen of Portland Street like 1,001 times at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Matt still is one of my inspirations. I love what he does. I love all the music he makes. Um, my second would be Down the Road I Go by Travis Tritt.
Okay.
I select that one because it's one of those albums that when I was a kid, I used to dance to. You know what I mean? And my parents loved it, and I've loved it, and I still play some of those songs to this day. Like, modern day Bonnie and Clyde. Have you guys heard that song?
You don't have
Um,
to talk to me about Travis Tritt.
Okay,
I love
yeah.
Travis.
okay, cool.
So
Gates.
Um, and
Yeah.
I think I subconsciously, like, I had forgotten about that song for years, and I wrote my song "Highway Robbery," and I literally referenced Bonnie and Clyde in that song. And it was only after I wrote the song that I realized, holy shit, I love that Travis Tritt song that mentions that. Swear, Travis, I wasn't ripping you off, man.
he's
Coming
just like,
after
he
you for
comes for
royalties,
you.
yeah.
He's like, you
But
know what? Things have been rough the past few months. I
yeah,
have a scandal. I need some cash. I need people to put me back in the good light.
let's go. I mean, any publicity is good publicity, right?
Well,
Oh,
sort
Just
of.
kidding. Just kidding. I know.
Sort of.
No, I'm not looking for any bad publicity. Travis, I love you, man. Okay. Also, like, I want to have a little bit of a variety, so I got a country album. Matt's got like this epic rock, but also little bits of psychedelic
Yep.
beauty in there. And
Mhm.
literally, like, I was listening to that album on the way back home earlier, and I was like, man, Indio, the
I
first.
know.
I'm just literally seeing myself on that desert island, like I'm the king of this island, beating on my chest and starting my day and just feeling free. Like, obviously, it'd be tough, and eventually, you would have to develop routines before you could get to beating on your chest and
Right.
whatever. But I think that song and that album would just be a
Yeah.
great hit on any desert island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
And for the third one, I was having a hard time. Um, I decided to go with um, Creedence Clearwater Revival at the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh, a
It's
live
a
album.
live album, and it was recorded in London, UK, 1970. And it's a recent discovery of mine because everybody in New Brunswick seems to love CCR, and like I've loved CCR since I was a kid and didn't even realize it. And I just found this album with all sorts of their best songs
Oh yeah.
live.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, that would be a fun, nostalgic song that would bring me back to my roots. I mean, all of these would in a way, but the live version would also be like, okay, I'm pretending like I'm at a show. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
That's what happened to me with the Doobie Brothers like over a decade ago. I was like, I think I found their live at the Greek, and now I watch it probably
Yeah.
once a month, and I love the Doobie Brothers because of that live show. And I was like, I actually know all of their songs,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna go see them on
Yeah.
in October. Floor tickets because we're crazy like that, and
What?
we have sound check tickets as
No
well.
way.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm hoping to see Michael McDonald.
Some of the best, there's some really good live albums that
Oh
are
my
like I
God,
would
yeah.
like on their own are just like
Yeah.
super like I prefer them perhaps over some
That's
other
true.
others of
Yeah.
note. So that's awesome.
That's true.
Mhm. I
Love
I was thinking to myself, I was like, I can't really say this, but I was like, I wonder, is it egotistical to be like, I'm gonna bring my album, and when I die, I'll die with on my chest. Be like, at least if they find me, well, they'll find something
That's
to
true.
listen
How do
to.
you consider Egypt, right?
the next Strange Grooves guest that ends up on the desert island will
Yeah,
have
exactly.
They're
You
like,
get 3 albums plus the album of the
they're like,
last artist that died there.
Yeah, exactly.
no, that's wild.
Oh,
Well, it's been so great to chat with you. Before we go, we need to know where can people find you, listen to you? When can we listen to the new EP? What's up?
yes.
Tell us.
Okay. So you guys can find me on Instagram. It's probably my most active site. It's just at Max Bujold, MaxBujold. You can find me on Facebook, Max Bujold Music. TikTok, same thing. But and YouTube. I just made a YouTube account since now I have music videos. I need to have a YouTube.
Right,
That's
Um,
right.
Max Bujold Music as well.
And we're working
And
on some dates.
Ooh,
Yeah.
oh yes, I want to come to St.
Yes,
John
yes,
yes,
and
we
meet
want to
you
meet
guys in
one day.
person.
Yeah.
yes, that'll be fun.
Bring the band. That
Yeah.
would be a super fun time.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking to expand across New Brunswick more and more. We're reaching new venues all the time, and it's super exciting. It's great to meet new people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna be touring quite a bit this summer. If you guys want to follow along, just check out our page. We'll definitely be posting dates on there. Um, and the EP is coming out September 29th is my tentative date. Is hoping everything goes well.
Features exclusive.
Yes.
Yeah, Max Bujold and the Milestones, The Gamble. If you guys needed a refresher on the name, it's gonna be some of my favorite songs, and it's like a variety of songs. I didn't want to cast myself into one genre. I
Yeah.
thought, okay, my EP is gonna be like a taster platter of what I have to offer, sort of deal. So there's gonna be some fun.
Easter platter. I like that.
Yeah, like there's some that are like really heavy rock. There's some that are country rock, and then there's there's one that's like there's not even a chorus, and it's just like there's even some synth bass and some cool stuff going on that just make you vibe out and really think about the lyrics. And it's all coming out in the fall. It's my first album, and I'm so happy and proud to say that we're doing it. We're doing this thing.
Yay!
Thank you.
We're so proud of you.
We're looking at dropping another single and music video before then as well. So keep an eye out for that. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this music video. I'm going full comedy side with this one because the last two have been a bit serious, and I don't want people to take me too seriously.
Yeah, that's if they're watching your socials, I don't know if they
Yeah, that'd be like
Very cool.
amazing.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to be on our show, for real. I know like you and I chat and we do a lot of the work on the side, but being on our show, it means a lot to us. So thank you.
You guys, it's an honor. You guys don't realize
We
this
do.
gives you freaking better
It's
because
like, oh my goodness.
you guys give so many artists a voice where
Oh.
they can't speak. You know what I mean? We're heard on so many different platforms because of you guys, and it means the world to us all. I will speak on behalf of all the musicians and artists that have come before me and that will come after.
We appreciate that. We're
Yeah.
just trying to help
Much
everybody
love.
help themselves really. And it
Yeah.
helps us. It's a good outlet for our mental health as well. And
Yeah.
keeps us connected to people doing cool shit. So that's our kind of way of giving back to the industry as well. And while selfishly being able to do something cool for ourselves.
Exactly.
It's amazing. And I have to say, like, I learn something every time I listen to you guys' podcast too. And I'm sure that everybody else also learns a lot. So like thanks for the lessons. Thanks for the real friggin'
Anytime.
chills. Like
Yeah.
it literally feels like I'm chilling with you guys on
More
the
than
podcast
welcome.
sometimes. I'm just driving in my car or something. So
Oh,
Well,
that's
and
what
if
we
you're
love.
ever into being on the Phil Collins segment, we will call you.
Yeah, you can call in
Uh,
anytime. Come back anytime.
yes.
If
What do
you
you mean
will
Phil
allow
Collins section?
Yeah.
that, we have a
Phil Collins, I get it. Oh my god. I'm so gullible, you guys. You don't even know.
I
Okay.
love it.
It is-
Yay. Well, because sometimes we love when people call into the segment, or we'll call them, and it's
Mhm.
just like a fun little, like maybe you're out getting groceries, maybe you're at the gym, and we'll just call you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And
No,
like,
it sounds
you
great.
love it,
Day.
right?
You've got my number. You can call me anytime.
Amazing.
Like, give me
You heard it here, guys.
you can call me, baby. You
Right?
can call me anytime. You need to call me.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So much.
that was terrible, but
It was great, actually. It was great.
Well, thank you everyone for listening, and until next time,
Thanks, everybody.
Keep it
strange. Wrong sound effect. There we go.
Shooby dooby dooby dooby. We love that. Okay. Hold on.
Amazing. And
Ending
scene.
this.